Welcome to For and Against, the section where we review an album that has been released this week.
And this week we're talking about K-pop giants BTS, who released B, their 5th album this week.
It's their 9th release, if we include their Japanese releases. 8 songs and 28 minutes. The Bangtan Boys, also known as the Bangtan Senyadan, composed of RM, Jin, Suga, J-Hope, Jimin, V and Jungkook, are a hard-working group of lads. They only just released their 4th EP, Map of Seoul, last February. But massive global dominating plans were abruptly halted due to that thing that happened this year. You know, the I'm going to call it the bastard. You know what I'm talking about. Let's call it the bastard. Because of the bastard, the Bangtan Boys were forced to remain indoors and take a long overdue nap in their shared quarters. But did they lie down on the sofa, binge watch The Crown and order pizza like everyone else? No. They've made an album about feeling desolate due to the current global predicament, balancing ballads with dancier numbers, finding common ground with everyone who's stuck in 2020 with nowhere to go. The result? Well, Ben, what did you think about the album?
Well, much like a nice cup of tea when you come in after a cold day, much like almost any kind of biscuit, much like a nice warm duvet, this is a very, very comforting album. It's got a sort of warmth to it. It's very welcoming. It makes you feel, hey, maybe the world isn't that bad, really. You can sing along to it. You can tap your toes. I can certainly see it as a sort of the bastard, as you put it, album. It's very much a response to it, because one response would be, oh, everything's bad, you know, we're going to respond to this crisis with rap and filth, and another one is just to break something that sounds very nice, kind of the album just you want to do. There's been a lot of these warmer albums, haven't there? It's a bit Kylie Minogue. Remember we talked about Kylie Minogue? That was fun, wasn't it?
Yes.
Anyway, that reminds me a little bit of that.
Yes, it's a pop record. Let's not forget, BTS is a pop band. I kind of miss the little hip-hoppier elements that they had in their earlier albums. I think that they've steered clearly into that kind of bland pop that is inoffensive, but that's not a bad thing, you know, as I say.
There's hip-hop. What about Dis-ease? That's very hip-hop. It's got an old-school kind of vibe to it. There's got rapping. Apparently it's about people talking, saying nasty things about them. That's pretty hip-hop.
Yeah, but
hip-hop enough for you?
Before there was more, you know, they were actually a hip-hop / pop band. Now it's a pop band that occasionally does a little bit of hip-hop, at least on this release.
Well, Johann, much as some nutcases are calling the pandemic a plandemic, this is very much a plan album. Does that work?
Okay.
Does that work?
A plowbum.
No,
that doesn't work. Okay.
Well, we'll go with that anyway. Which means basically Dynamite, which is the key track on this, was a pretty obvious attempt to break even bigger in the American market. So it's got that disco sound that we all love. I believe it's got English songwriters. It's sung entirely in English. And it works. It's like pop dynamite for me. Yes, it is. And this album is kind of like that. It sees them expanding the horizons. It is a laser-focused pop album. Everything on this album, well, with one exception, is like going for the massive, massive big hits. So you've got a little bit of EDM, you've got acoustic guitars, you've got some rap, you've got lots of disco, you've got a ballad, and rather strangely, you've got a skit, which is 3 minutes of the boys talking in Korean.
I know. It is interesting that a band like this is one of the reasons that tourism to South Korea has boomed in the recent years, ever since they formed in 2013. One of 13 tourists visiting Korea does so because they're a BTS fan. So that's a very nice thing that they do for their country, which kind of makes me a little bit, why are they singing in English? They haven't needed to sing in English to reach wider audiences. They've got one of the biggest fan bases in the world. I don't think anyone has ever had that many fans all organizing themselves together like an army. So it's like, why bother singing in English? Okay, by singing in English, they've actually managed to nab a Grammy Award nomination. So does that mean that for me to get a Grammy, I have to bow down and sing in the Queen's English? It's always a little bit disheartening, you know. It's like they've done so much being Korean, being the biggest K-pop band. Don't cheapen yourselves by singing in a more commercial language.
Now, if I'm going to do one thing that probably everyone shouldn't do, and I apologise thoroughly to the BTS army for doing this, but I'm going to compare them to Blackpink. We reviewed their album a few weeks ago, and I found it absolutely right at the cutting edge of pop music. It was an explosion of sounds and effects and dance and trap and rap and guess and all of those wonderful things. Now, BTS are not like that. BTS, in fact, reminded me a lot more of your traditional pop band sitting on a stool with an acoustic guitar. Yeah, there was a little bit of rap, but there was also an element of Westlife.
Westlife, yes, I could see that kind of comparison, which is why it feels a little bit cheap. It's like there's like, look, we've broken the mold. We've taught the world what K-pop is, what it sounds like, what it can be. We sing in Korean. The fans do the hard work of translating our videos for us. You know, they don't even have to spend money. They themselves, who are also co-writers, you know, unlike Westlife, they write most of their songs with some help. But were Westlife songwriters? Did Ronan Keating write any of his own songs?
Pass. I don't know.
I know Gary Barlow and Take That wrote a lot of the songs that Take That sung. So anyway, so BTS, we're studying a different kind of a boy band. We're in front of a boy band that actually co-writes most of its own songs and brings their own personality to the fore. There's a lot of direction, and not only that, they, as I said, they're actually taking creative decisions in their video clips and their marketing and all this, that, the other. So even though we think of BTS as this incredible enterprise with all these people in the background helping out, it's actually them stuck in this house where the 7 of them live together who are making a lot of the important decisions and doing all the button pushing. But I find it amazing that a pop band that's not just sort of, hey, look at us sing and dance, you know, it's like, hey, take care of your business, take care of your mental health, take care of your family. It's quite exemplifying. I don't think Robbie Williams ever did that for his fans.
Now, I have found Dynamite impossible to get out of my head. Dynamite is a tune I'm going to be singing for the next few months. And Telepathy, another disco number, I'm also a big fan of. These are massive, massive pop hits, and they're sure to be dominating the charts. I like the fact it's only 8 songs long, and was it 28 minutes? Right, big, because, you know, I've got things to do, places to go. It's incredibly well written. There's really great pop hooks. I like the way they mix things up a bit. Possibly, if I were, it's not the album I might come back to when I was thinking about 2020. I think I'd be more likely to go back to records from the likes of Dua Lipa and, sorry Army, Blackpink.
I believe in BTS. I think they're the way forward. It's more than just a boy band. It's a K-pop institution that stands for more. It encompasses certain values that speaks to millions of fans. And those fans even, as I said, they call themselves Army. No, they've disabled a Trump rally, for God's sakes, with use of their devices. They could become the saviors of the galaxy.
They may be the saviors of our galaxies, but what did you reckon to be, Johann, for or against?
I can't be against a band that does so much for the world. I mean, yeah, musically, the songs, as I say, I prefer earlier BTS stuff. I like the first album better when no one was such a fan. But I think there's a lot of quality in this, and I'm sure it can guide me through the darkness. But I'm going to be a little bit against it just because they've pandered a little bit to commercial spheres that they didn't need to.
I'm going to be a little bit for it because Dynamite is an absolute banger, as the name suggests.
What about you, people out there? What do you think of the Bangtan Boys' latest release? Let us know in the comments section below, and make sure you tune in to the weekly review every week on RPS.